Hello, yeah. Hi and welcome to episode 41. Today is Friday the 5th of June and I am Maja. You can find me as sjomajlin on Instagram and Ravelry and on YouTube. And please get in contact with me if you want to. Yes, it's Friday again. It's been a week since I recorded last. We've had an interesting week weather-wise. It's been... So last weekend it was still May, and we've had the coldest and rainiest and... well, lousiest May since they started recording the weather. And earlier this week when June started, it was, 5 degrees Celsius and pouring rain and super windy. There has been some trees falling over and stuff. Where I live we haven't had it, that bad, but further west towards Gothenburg they've had power outs, if that's what it's called, due to, trees falling over power lines and stuff, so it's been bad. So on Tuesday, I believe it was, we had like 5 degrees and pouring rain. When it's that weather in November, you have to be aware of and perhaps afraid of ice on the roads. And now I have my summer tires on the car, so I was like, do I need to be worried in June? Unacceptable. But then it got better. Yesterday was almost good and today it's been summer. It's been like 20 degrees. It's a little bit breezy still, with some, what do you say, it's not a steady even wind, but it is like short bursts of stronger wind, you know what I mean? So it's a bit like that still, but it's calmed down a lot, so that's good. Other than that, I've had a good week. Mostly those of you who follow me on Instagram has probably noticed that I've been a bit upset with the weather this week. But it got better, so that's good. But it was, the beginning of this week, the weather was like in March, but it's June. But as I said, it's been better now, so hopefully it will keep on. They say it's gonna get worse again on Sunday, but I choose not to believe that. This week, a lot of, small stuff has happened that has been interesting and, good, really. And I was thinking the other day, because there were so many, just tiny little things that still made me feel very good in sort of almost a weird way. So I was thinking, and I've talked about this before, so most of you, I guess, have heard this, but if there are any new ones, in November I got sick and I was on sick leave for all of November and half of December with depression and anxiety and stress symptoms. And I'm still on medication for depression and I am much better, but I'm not done yet. So, but after around Christmas, when I had, I was getting up from my deepest point, I realized that I had been so very numb, like emotionally and in being able to take in, anything really, because that was, a coping mechanism. And I realized a couple of times, so the first one I remember was just before Christmas, and then it's been a few more times when I sort of realized that, whoa, why did I react this strongly to this? And I think that it is that I am, taking a step back towards how I used to be, So I'm thinking maybe I'm pretty much back there, but maybe I took another step now. Because there have been small things that just make me feel good, so I'm happy about that. I did wash my car on when was that? It must have been on Wednesday. So I have, you know, I'm sore. My arms are sore. I'm not gonna even. But I did wash my car and I just felt so good afterwards. I felt so accomplished. Stuff like that. I did, excuse me, I did finish some books. Or, yeah, I finished the last book out of a few that were in a series, but they, how do you say this? You would have understood everything in the third book, even if you hadn't read the first books. So they were not, it wasn't a trilogy, but they were related. So I finished the last one, and I was like, because I was thinking, where do I put them in my shelves? And then the thought just struck me, because they were good books. They were good books, but they weren't, you know, life-altering for me. So just, you know, what if I forget them somewhere? So I tagged them up with some ribbon, and I put a tag on it saying, do you need something to read? Here you go. And then I walked past a bus stop, and I forgot them there. Well, I'm hoping that someone picked them up to read them. Worst case, I guess someone was like, oh, this is trash, and threw them out. Well, anyway, so then later on, I think that was on Tuesday, I'm not sure. Well, anyway, later on that day, I was like, I need to check. So I was, you know, out for a walk, and I happened to pass by that bus stop. And as I got nearer or closer, I was all nervous. My heart was pounding, and I was like, it was weird. And I got closer, and I was like, it looks like there's nothing there. And as I got closer, there was nothing there. And I was all giddy. So I don't know what happened, but it made me feel so very, very good. Yeah, it's been those, you know, small stuff. So it's been, overall it's been a good week. And I am also, I have 2 weeks left till vacation, or time off from work anyway. And it's less than 2 weeks even, because in 2 weeks, that Friday is our Midsummer Eve. That is like summer solstice celebration. Like traditionally, nowadays it's mostly just an excuse to get really, really drunk for a lot of people. Me, I'm not included. I eat a lot of strawberries. So that Friday is off. We don't work that Friday. Obviously, hospitals and stuff, they work, but not. Most people have that day off. So, so it's less than 2 weeks. And I believe I said this last week, when it was obviously then 3 weeks. You are never as tired as when you know you have a lot of vacation or time off ahead of you. So I'm very much looking forward to having that time off. Okay, some fiber content then. I have been spinning. I haven't finished the yarn yet, so I'm thinking I'll show it to you when it's done, which it isn't yet. And on, excuse me for leaning, I did get this in the mail this week as well. I had ordered a Nitty Nutty. It's an Ashford. Oh, I'm shaking. You can see that anyway. I had ordered this along with a wheel, but it wasn't delivered with a wheel, so I was sure, you know, it's gonna come. And I paid the bill and everything, and then on, I think it was on Monday, I got a text from an unknown number saying, you know, sort of, hi, this is so-and-so from the company so-and-so. I just wondered, did you get the Nitty Nutty? Because I have a feeling I forgot to pack it for you. It was a small company that I ordered from, who is a, how do you say, they resell Ashford. You know what I mean, right? And I was like, yeah, no, I didn't get it. And they were like, she was like, I apologize, I'm gonna send it right now. So this came in the mail. and I haven't had one. The yarn that I've made so far, I've skeined it up using the Swift, which is, you know, it works, but I wanted a knit knotty as well, so now I have it. So, excuse me, for this yarn that I'm working on right now, I have spun the singles and I will apply them. Then I will break in the knit knotty as well. So I will show it to you next week probably, when it's done. I really tried to stay away from the wheel, because I know I need to get some knitting done as well, because I have the projects that I want to get done, and then I also want to cast on something with the yarn that I've made because I want to use it. But I couldn't stay away, I needed to knit, spin as well, so I did. I do have a finished object though. I finished, and I tried to block it, so it's a bit, I haven't worn it since. I blocked it over a upside down chair on the legs, so it's a bit scrunched together. This is my handbroms, my take on the handbrake cowl, a pattern by Dan Jones, available on Ravelry under his wife KF Jones's name. It's £1 plus tax, or the VAT thingy if you're in Europe at least, and all of that pound goes to cancer research, so it's a good cause. And as I said, that is called a handbrake, and this is my slight variation on it, so I call this my handbroms, which, if you haven't guessed it, is handbrake in Swedish. This is out of cotton. It was taller and more narrow when I showed it to you last, but as I said, I've blocked it out to be wider. So it's lilac cotton. I used about 4 skeins of the yarn that I had, which is the same that I will be showing you in a minute. So it's 165 meters per skein, and I did not use all of that fourth skein, but maybe half of it, so 3.5 times 165 if you want to know the meterage. And I learned last week that I will not attempt to do live maths. I felt, you know, I just felt, no, that didn't come out right, and I didn't know what was wrong, so I thought, you know, but I fixed it with the text, if you saw that. So this is a pretty wide cowl, so you could have it, you know, maybe if I sit up a little taller, a little over the shoulders like that, and you could also be like a scoop neck, or you could just have it like that. And I think you could twist it another turn, but if it's like, you know, super windy, but I won't do that on camera. And I'm very happy with this. I soaked it and blocked it, but since it's cotton, I always find it much harder to weave in ends in cotton compared to wool. So the ends are, I find it really hard to do a good job, so they are not, excuse me, they are not looking awesome. But you don't have to see that. So I finished this and I'm very happy with it. Yeah, I don't really have, well, I've said this a million times now, I don't really enjoy working with cotton, so I don't have a lot of cotton neck, shoulder pieces, which can be good for the summer. I do wear wool in the summer as well, because we don't have that, you know, extraordinary heat in the summer for more than just a few days, if that. So that is my FO. I'm very pleased with this. I did use, what did I use? I used a 3.5mm needle, I believe. And the yarn calls for, this cotton calls for a size 3mm needle, so it's a little, I'm more of a loose knitter than a tight knitter, so this is pretty airy and light. I am working on this baby sweater charity knit. I won't show that show. It's so boring. So that's it. That is all the attention it deserves. Then I have two new cast-ons. This week I did start this, which is a Mobius cowl. It looks tiny right now because it's pretty bunched up on this needle, but it is, if you don't really know what a Mobius is, I'm trying to show it to you. It is, the cable wraps twice within the cowl, so it's just, you know, one. You knit it from, I cast it on here, and I'm only knitting knit stitches, and it turns right there, or it overlaps, so it's just one edge, so it's working from the inside out on both sides simultaneously. Yeah, so when you cast it off, then in a while, it's gonna be a super long cast off edge, and which then comes up to the same point. So I started this week. This is on size 3mm needles, the Knit Pro Nova interchangeable, and this is it's pretty much the same. Well, it is the same cotton yarn again. I don't have a lot left in this ball, which is, as you can see, a multicolored. So this is called Irene. Oh, you can't even see from the glare. And then, when this runs out, I will add on this hot pink, which is, you know, the same hot pink. So that will go on both sides, so this will be in the middle. And it is, so this is called Birgit, and that is the same yarn as this, and also the same that I did the shrug, the pale blue shrug out of. But it is the same, if I show it to you like this, it is the same yarn. So I'm guessing the solid colors are Birgit and the multicolors are Irene. So these are women names. Yeah, so I'm starting this, so a bit more of multicolored, and then it will be hot pink. So I have 2 skeins of this, and since I'm adding it out to both sides, that'll mean I'll have the same width of this multicolored one, and then the pink ones on each side of that, if I'm using the 2 skeins that I've got. And then the blue one that I knit the shrug out of is almost exactly the same as this blue one, and since there will be pink in between, I'm thinking that I can do an I-cord cast off or bind off with that blue going around after I've used the pink. That is the plan. Maybe I'll change my mind somewhere along the way, but that is my plan for this. And so that is obviously also in cotton. I don't know what is happening. And then I did cast on the pair of socks. I mentioned this last time. So this is the yarn. No, this is the pattern. It looks like this. It's the brainless. And you can see this. You can see the detail there on the gusset. There is a cable which splits and opens up to let the garter. Or no, it's not even garter actually, it's reverse stockinette. Stitches for the gusset, and then closes again on the other side of the gusset. These are knit sew up. So you open it up first, and then you do the heel, and then it cables and twists again. I have knit this pattern before. They turned out way too big, those socks. So I'm giving them another try. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. I don't know, I have such a strong memory of it being called like the Brainless by Yarnissima, but I can't find it on the pattern, so I'm not sure. On here it says the copyright 2008 by Marianne Hammink, all rights reserved and so on. But if you search Brainless under patterns on Ravelry, you'll find this. It's it's a good pattern. As I said, I did it before, and I talked about this. Those were my first toe-up socks ever, and those were pretty much my second, you know, more patterned sock. I had only made like straight plain vanilla socks before that. And sure, they turned out too big, because I probably did not really know how to measure when it's toe up, because I had not done that before, so I was unsure. I think that is what it was. I had no problems understanding, you know, getting the pattern when I did them the first time, and back then I was very much a beginner overall. I don't know what languages it's available in. I have it in English. I'm sure it's available in other languages, but I'm not sure which ones. But I did cast this on. Let me just lean over to put them there. Using this opal that I've shown you before when I got it a few weeks ago. The opal, and I'm trying to read backwards because I don't know what it's called. Surprise. So it's the rainbow colorway, pretty much. It's the colorway of 4061. And I mentioned this, a lot of you guys who speak English and don't know any German at all struggle with remembering which is which of the Farbe and Partie. And I mentioned that I'm trying to figure out some way to make, you know, like a rule of thumb how to remember it, and I can't. The closest I'm getting is that something that is colorful, that is the color, so it's colorful Farbe, and then Partie is the dye lot, and you dye in a dye pot, so Partie is for dye pot. I don't know, it doesn't have, you know, that ring to it. Well, anyway, so the colorway of this is 4061, the rainbow, I call it. So I cast this on using my Knit Pro Carbon 2mm needles DPNs. No, I did not actually. These are the carbon needle 2 mils. I actually I cast this on Magic Loop on my Addy lace. Because I don't know why. I've said this before that I prefer double points. These are sock needles in Swedish, so I was like, but that does sound weird in English. Double points. Double points are my preferred method. But I'll do Magic Loop if it makes more sense in any way or in some way. And when I was starting this, I just really felt like, you know, I want to do this Magic Loop, so I did. And then I changed my mind, so I changed it over to DPNs. So you start from the toe, and then I'm starting to do these cables on both sides, and I have a little stitch marker there, going up along both sides of the foot. So I haven't done a lot of work on that, but I've started it. Words! And I'm really loving how the color progresses. It's these very smooth transitions between the colors. It's not... sometimes if it's a self-striping sock yarn that has these really straight lines as well, I can really like that too, but in this it feels very smooth with these smooth transitions, and I like that. So yeah, these are coming along. As I said, I haven't done a lot on them. So those are my works in progress. I really want to, you know, just make that baby sweater happen because it's so boring. I just want to have it off the needles. Since it's for charity, I feel as though I want to finish it. I don't want to frog it. I'll just, you know, power through and it'll be done. I am over halfway now, so it's getting closer. Then, for some weird reason I have, or, well, there are stories to this. I don't know how interesting it is to someone else. But I have two other things to show you. One is this that I have posted on Instagram quite a few times. And maybe this is a bit noisy, I'm sorry. So this is a flag. A pride flag. That's knit. It's actually machine knit. So me and my knit group, we wanted to try the knitting machine that my job has, and no one even knows it's there, kind of. And then we decided to knit a pride flag for last year's Pride Fest. So we did knit these stripe by stripe, and then just sewed them together. And then one of the ladies did this background for it. This is watercolors on like a blind curtain. What's it called? You know, the dark curtain for. Do you know what I mean? So it feels almost like it's somewhere between a canvas and a fabric. So that is just for the back, and this is the front. So last year this hung at the library, like the town library, for the Pride Fests, and then I said to my boss that I think that this should be hung somewhere in our where people can see it. So he decided to have this in his office, where, you know, all of the, when he has, you know, more or less important meetings and people coming through, they would see this. And then for this year's Pride Fest, the library wanted to use this again for some, you know, exhibition parts or, you know, some decoration. And the boss wasn't there, so I snuck into his office and took it. And it's been with the library for a while now, and for some reason I have it at home right now. Obviously he knows it's not there, and obviously he knows it was me who took it, so I will take it back to him. But for now I have this at home. And this just makes me so happy. A knit pride flag that, you know, the boss actually wants to keep at his office, and that is actually being used for people to see. It makes me happy. So I just wanted to share that with you more than just with pictures on Instagram. This is a bit more, excuse me, a bit more live action than just pictures on Instagram, even though you're obviously not here. Which is a good thing. I was going to say that's too bad, but it's a good thing, because those of you who saw the little apartment tour or guide a few episodes back, you know it's not huge here. So maybe it's a good thing. And then I had heard about a knit book that I was interested in. And I'll show it to you in a minute. But I wasn't really sure if I wanted to buy it, so I wanted to look at it first. So I did search the town library, or the libraries even. Excuse me. On their website you can search for the books in there, well, that they had. So I went online to search for this, and they didn't have it. And this is a pretty new book. Excuse me, I don't know what's wrong with me today. This was published last year. So it's a pretty new book, so they didn't have it. And then I thought, because, well, at least here, you can always suggest or wish for books that they would buy. And there is no, I mean, obviously there's no guarantee that they will buy every book that someone wants to lend. Or, do you say lend? Loan, maybe. Obviously, they lend it, I loan it. But you can make suggestions and you can wish for books. So then I thought, because one of the ladies within the knit group, she worked at the library. So I was looking for, you know, that, where you could make suggestions. online and I couldn't find it, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna email her on her work email address. And so she can enter my suggestion. And I thought that, you know, since she's also a knitter, maybe she will, you know, just push it a little extra, because this is a knit book. So I did, and she responded, and she was like, yeah, I'm gonna make the suggestion, but I, you know, can't promise anything. And then after a while she emailed me again saying, I've asked another library to loan it to us. So then they would send it on the post and stuff. And well, then it's up to that library to actually decide whether they want to loan it, you know, far away, or if they want to keep it within their district or whatever. And then after a few days she wrote to me again saying they will buy it. So I was like, yeah, that's good. And then so it arrived, and she said, I'm gonna, what do you say, like book this in your name so that no one else can have it. And I was like, yeah, that's good. So I was going to go to the library and pick it up, and I didn't have the time. And so when we were meeting on Wednesday, she messaged me in the morning saying, I'll bring the book if that's okay. And I was like, yeah, sure, please do. So I got it, and she said, well, you're gonna get a letter saying that you need to return the book, but you don't have to pay attention to that. You can keep it for a couple of months, and then I'll probably want to have it after that. So we'll just. So she had, you know, sort of taken it out of the loaning system. So that I can have this over the summer, and then she can also use it before it's, you know, entered into the system. So I was like, yeah, that's awesome, thank you very, very much, because that was, you know, that was more than I could have hoped for. And so she also said that, well, it's us and the university library in Gothenburg that has this book. The only libraries in Sweden. So it's a bit cool, actually. So this book is in Dutch and English, so it's called So Warm, Twined Knitting in English, and you can see some examples of the stuff in there, or on that picture. So each page, the pictures are obviously without language, and then for each page there is the text both in English and in Dutch. And I have as my sort of summer challenge to learn twined knitting. I had it like 2 years ago, I think, also, and I sort of got it. It's a special technique. I sort of got it, and then I ripped it out to do it with some other yarn, and then I didn't really pick it back up. And then the time just, you know, went by. So I don't really know why. But I know that I sort of get it. I'm trying to find some good pictures. Twined knitting is, I believe, a very Swedish technique, traditionally. In which you knit with 2 yarns. Or more if you want more colors, but even if you knit in just one color, you need 2, or you use 2 strands, and then between each stitch you twine the strands around each other. This makes for a very, very tight and almost airtight, actually, fabric when you knit it. So since you knit every other stitch with every other, so let's say you have 2 colors, so every other stitch is white and every other stitch is black, just say that, then you will obviously, you know, just that will pull the stitches very tight to each other, and then since you twist the yarns or the floats, which then aren't floats, in the back side or in the wrong side between every stitch, it also makes for very, very tight knitting. So that is my summer. I mean, I don't really know a lot about it right now, but for me, I'm not doing this for pod content. I'm doing this because I want to learn, and I think that sometimes I just need to, you know, set myself challenges so that I'll get to it, honestly. So this is my summer challenge. So I kind of wanted to kick it off because it is knitting, and I'm thinking it might be interesting for you as well. So hopefully the sound of me leafing through the book isn't too noisy. So here you can see some pictures. So that is the traditional look of it. So the fabric is, as I said, it's very airtight, which it makes it warm, and it's also well, it's less stretchy because it's so tight. And then since you knit it very tight, like traditionally, you can also felt it, and it will shrink very little since it's so tight from the beginning. And here is a pair of mittens that are knit just in white. I hope you can see that, because I can't really see in the viewfinder what I am showing you. I'm trying to see. Ah, there we go. There are the mittens. Maybe you can see that there is pattern on those. And I'm trying to find the word. It's krus in Swedish, I know. So it's like, well, it is really, I mean, it is pearl stitches that makes this, you know, texture look. So I'm trying to find something else. So this is, as I said, it's very Scandinavian looking, and I believe it's Swedish traditionally. So this is the book is by a Dutch lady who found this very interesting, and so she went to Sweden and researched and, you know, learned all about this and did this book in Dutch and English, obviously. So it's very interesting. What else was I gonna say? I just had a thought and it went straight through my mind. That was weird. I don't know. So it's mostly mittens. You can knit twine knitting flat, but it's traditional, it's knit in the round. So it's mostly mittens, gloves, and socks. Since it's, you know, a bit more, well, rigid maybe, the fabric. So it's not really, you know, comfy socks, but very warm socks, and more like almost boot, like, you know, indoor boots. They are more, you know what I mean, like more stiff. So just think, you know, way back in the day when you could have, maybe you didn't have shoes, maybe you just had clogs, and in the winter it was freezing, so maybe you could have these sort of thicker socks. So here's an example of them. Yeah. And it just bothers me because I knew I was thinking of something just then, and then it just, yeah, I'll probably think of it when it's too late, and it was probably not all that interesting anyway. So I'm going to read this book, or go through it more carefully, and I will start my summer challenge. Yes, I think this is the thought that I had, or maybe this is the thought that I had before that. So this is, as I said, a newer book. I believe the thing is that the books that were before this in Swedish were kind of old. And even though, I mean, the things that I've showed you, it's pretty, you know, classic designs. It's not exactly, you know, modern or trendy like that. It's like, you know, pretty clean and classic like that. But obviously, apparently this is a bit more updated, and the older books are maybe, you know, a little dated. So I've heard that this is a bit more up to date, which is good. Yeah, so I don't really have more to say about this right now, but since it is gonna be my, as I said, summer challenge, I will be talking about it, so I thought I would fill you in right from the start. And I did mention last time or 2 times ago, last time I think, that or well, both I think actually, that I had ordered some yarn for the sweater that I am thinking of casting on. The thing is that last week I was a bit surprised that the yarn wasn't here already, because I thought it would be. And it's still not here, so I think it was day before yesterday. I was like, what's up? Why isn't the yarn here? So I went back, because I had ordered it, so I had the confirmation of the order in my mailbox. So I went back to look at it, and turns out I had not chosen or clicked the, you know, like express delivery. Which is, I mean, I thought it was weird that it didn't cost more, which is, there's the answer to that. So then it says, for the delivery alternative that I chose, it said allowed for 3 to 4 weeks, I think. So that is about 2.5 weeks ago that I ordered that, I think. So it will be here soon. I thought it would be here by last week, so that is why I talked about it. So we'll have to wait for that, but that is fine. Yeah, I guess that is the knitting content, or fiber content. As I said, there has been some spinning, but I will show it to you when the spinning is done. I don't have a spinning whip for you. Yesterday, me and my mom, I posted a picture to Instagram. Me and my mom did a sweatshop, I think I wrote. We were gonna make, or we are going to make, like almost like cosplay outfits for my brother and my nephews. They wanted to have the Link tunics from the Zelda games to run around in the forest this summer. So we were gonna make like green tunics for my brother and one of the nephews, and the other nephews wanted a pink one, so of course he's gonna get a pink one. And then Link often has something under. So my brother chose that they would have a white fabric for a longer sleeve, so that they could, you know, have long sleeves. So me and my mom, we were gonna start that yesterday, and we decided that we would get a white men's shirt for my brother, so that we had something, because we didn't have my brother there. And Dad was there for a while, but then he was going to leave as well, so we didn't really have, you know, anything to try on, how, for the fit, for the shoulders and everything. So we decided if we use a shirt, then we know that the fit is gonna be pretty much right. So we did go to, secondhand Goodwill, and picked up a shirt. And we came back home and asked Dad to just try it on to see, you know. And he was like, but this is such a good shirt, this is Egyptian cotton, what are you going to do with it? And we was like, well, we're going to cut it up and use it. We're going to cut it off, you know, at chest height, and just the sleeves and the shoulders. And he was like, no, you can't do that. This is a good shirt. And we was like, yeah, but we're going to use it. And so he was going through his closet, and he was like, this is a good shirt, you can use this, I haven't worn this, I never wear this. So it was a Battistini shirt, which is a pretty fancy brand, I guess. So he said, oh, I only wore that to his wedding, I haven't worn it since. And so he gave me, you know, a very stern look saying, you can't get married now or have a baby that will be baptized or die, because I don't have anything to wear. And I was like, okay. So we did cut his fancy shirt up. We did just remove the collar actually, but we're gonna do some more stuff to it. And we were trying to make this pretty fancy tunic without any pattern, and we were... If you would have just listened to us, you would not think that we had any brains at all, because we were We didn't really know what we were doing. My mom has been sewing a lot, and me too. I've too been sewing a lot. I've been sewing clothes and stuff. So even though I don't sew a lot right now, I do sew, and you know, I'm not a complete newbie, but we were so unsure, both of us, of what we were doing. That was just hilarious. So we hardly got any work done, but we also stated that like the actual fabric work, you can see a lot of work being done on it, but we have done so much thought work. We have almost planned, we sort of know what we're gonna do. So that was good. One thing that is a bit funny, I guess, is that both my mom and I have Husqvarna sewing machines, which is, I mean, it's a big brand of sewing machines, right? And my parents live in Husqvarna, and that is where I'm from. So we were sewing on a Husqvarna machine in Husqvarna. Husqvarna machine in Husqvarna, sorry. So I know Kimi at least has a Husqvarna sewing machine all across the world, and I have one too. And I just realized you can see that there is something here on my wall. I was trying to set the camera so that you wouldn't be able to see it, but I'm gonna turn it around. I did put a map of the world here on my wall. So here is obviously Sweden and Jönköping, where I live. And I do know, as I said, that Kimi has one. She lives like there. And she has a sewing machine with my hometown name on it. I think that's cool. Let me just get it out of frame like that. Yeah, so it's been small stuff like that. I did climb through a tree this week. I don't usually do that, but a tree had blown over a walkway that I was walking in the wind, and I couldn't get around it. And if I had to, I would have to have walked like almost a kilometer extra if I would have, you know, walked around it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna climb through. And so all of the crown of the tree was, you know, all over the way that I was walking. And so I decided that I would try to climb through it instead of risking falling in the lake that was on the other side. Yeah, and then on Monday we played a gig outside, and it was raining and very, very windy. There has been, you know, all of these just small, tiny little things this week that just made me happy. So last Sunday, we celebrate Mother's Day. We celebrated the 4th Sunday in May, which is also the last Sunday in May. But we did celebrate on Saturday last weekend. And so when my sister-in-law was, and we also celebrated my nephew's birthday a bit late. So there were a lot of gifts, you know, going around, and my sister-in-law packed up some gifts for my mom for, you know, Mother's Day. And then she came with 2 wrapped gifts, and said, we just thought it was so unfair that there is Father's Day and there is Mother's Day, but there is no Aunt's Day. So today's Aunt's Day. And I was like, yes, I like that. So I got tea in a beautiful wood box, and then a beautiful little teacup as well. I didn't bring them to show you, I should have. But that was just so sweet, you know? There's been a lot of those just tiny little things that has made me very happy. And I'm trying. I've heard myself when I've been talking that there is no really, you know, any theme or anything to cling on to. I've been just, you know, talking about scattered pieces everywhere. So now I'm trying to collect my thoughts to think if there is anything else that I shouldn't forget. I don't really have a favorite thing this week because, as I've said, there's been so many just small things that has been my favorites, all of them at once. So all of them is gonna be my favorite things. Yeah. it's been a good week. I'm in a good mood, and now the sun is coming and the summer is coming, and I'm getting close to my vacation and time off, and yeah, I think excuse me, I think that is just, you know, what's going on, and that is why I'm a bit more scatterbrained than usual, but it's in a good way, really. And yeah, I have plans for my knitting coming up, and for the yarn that is arriving, and to start knitting with my handspun. And sure, this is a fun knit, the sock that is coming along, and this the cowl is a good knit too. But I've had this yarn and I've had this plan for quite a while, so I'm a bit done with this already because I've had it in my head. So I'm not super inspired to do this, but I want to get it out of the way so that I can cast something new on, because having a lot of works in progress makes me a bit stressed, and I just don't need to add that onto myself. So I'll get that done, and then I will go on to the other stuff that is inspiring me a lot. And the twined knitting and the sweater when the yarn gets here and so on. I'll let you go now. I could talk and talk and talk and ramble on forever, but I'll save that for next week. Sjomajlin, Instagram Ravelry. Thank you for all the feedback, the thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to, comment if you want to. Get in touch with me on Ravelry or Instagram, or, you know, make it work if you want to. Otherwise, it's fine too. Take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves and to one another, make something beautiful, stay safe, make sure to be careful with the sun or heat if you are in weather that needs you to be careful. And I'll talk to you next time. Hej då!